review, what their desk looks like and what kind of things stay on their desk and what kind of things fall off the desk into the trash can, which is all very important information. So I would like to introduce Lee Courtney with WMNF, Scott Harrell, REAX. Scott Harrell's going to do that in the inside.
Sit next to me.
Oh, yes! Brilliant. Curtis Ross with the Tampa Tribune, Julie Garisto, who's an independent music columnist, and Leilani with Critic Loafing. Thank you.
All right, you can come attack them now. The bad reviews you've gotten, right here. They're sitting down, you can't escape. But no, we are here with people from mostly print media. I'm with WMNF. And I guess talk a little bit about how we decide what music to review or to play. And maybe Scott, you're right next to me. You want to start? I mean,
No.
No? Okay. Well, now Curtis, 2 seats over for you. They're never going to play it.
Yeah, well, I don't play music. I'm right about it. Good point. Yeah. Basically, I write for the Tribune. We're a daily newspaper. We're not a music-focused publication like REAX. So my coverage is going to be a little more general. So it's good if you've already got. I'm not the source for people who are looking to break the band. Locally, I'm more likely to write about somebody that you've already read about in REAX or Creative Loafing. But people ask me, they call up and want to talk about how can I get you to write about me? I think you basically just have to have your stuff together before you call, because there are certain things we need. I need to be able to hear some music. I need you to have like a little bio ready. I need, if I write about you, I need a good color JPEG of you or your band. Just little things like that. And these things are a lot easier to do than they were, 12 years ago when I started doing this. There was no MySpace. The internet was still, people were just kind of getting used to it. But basically, there are just more ways to have yourself prepared, and more you can do before you call me, the more likely you are to actually get some online coverage. Since that's where I do a lot of mine now on TVOX.
So do you like getting CDs or MP3s? Are they fine for you?
MP3s are fine, but I can't listen to them in my car. And I think somebody pointed out last year, if you send a CD and a little paper sleeve, that's 10 times more likely to get lost on the desk. So the jewel case or a digipack with the name printed prominently on the spine, that's got a much better chance of being found.
I work really well with digital downloads, but on the subject of MP3s, I think that sending someone an email with a compressed MP3 attached to it is really irritating, because if you don't have a T1 line, it still takes a while to load and it clogs up your inbox. It's best to have everything somewhere if you want to go all digital, it's best to have everything on a repository somewhere where we can go to Rapid Share or MediaFire and download the stuff rather than actually getting it sent to us.
How about you gals down there? What do you feel about the way people send you music? Does it make a difference to you?
It hasn't presented a problem for me. And since TBT launched the Soundcheck blog, we've been putting an MP3 up on the site alongside profiles of bands. So I've just been receiving a single MP3. It's just one, and it's been fine. I have a high-speed connection, and I forward it on to them. So it's I haven't had the same limitations. So I can't receive a whole LP in that format. But
What's an LP?
Good question.
Now, do you want people to call you after they send the stuff, or you prefer not to hear from them? Do they call you too much? I mean, what's a protocol on something like that?
Oh well, I like to hear news tied to events, like if they're playing a show.
Yeah.
I do a Meet the Band profile each week in the Friday TBT, and if you're not familiar with TBT, it's a free tabloid free tabloid that under the Times umbrella, St. Pete Times umbrella. So for me, I have to know when a band is playing, and I need to know about a month out, and I like to get maybe like a reminder about maybe 10 days to 2 weeks beforehand too. So about a month and then 2 weeks.
I think that we would all agree that that's very important, and it's really a lot, you're a lot more likely to get coverage if we can tie it into an event. And I think that most of us would agree with that.
And if you send an email, a follow-up phone call is good because my email gets routed through Richmond, Virginia, and a lot of times stuff that I need to see ends up in the junk mail. So call up, make sure I got it, be ready to resend it if I didn't.
Yeah, one thing I mentioned with radio stations, probably a little different than with print, is most radio stations have a music director or music director WMNF, program director, usually have call hours. And it's good to call ahead and find out when those are, because there's a good chance you could waste your time calling all week long if you're not calling on the day they take the calls. Mm-hmm. And so talk to the front desk, find out when the call hours are, and you're much more likely to be able to reach a person who is going to talk about music.
Yeah, and there aren't that many media outlets in this area, so you do yourself a favor to familiarize yourself with them before you call, because it's kind of irritating when somebody calls me and says, "Do you write about local music?" And it's like, like temptations to say no and hang up. But you can go to TDO Extra, especially TDO Extra now, where we do a podcast every month with local music podcasts. We've got all those up. We've got a little streaming jukebox of local music tracks, and you can find out what we do right about there. But yeah, do a little research. I mean, REAX and Creative Loafing are pretty easy to find. TBT, MNF is at 88.5. We've all got websites. Go there and find out a little bit about it, so you don't call up and ask, hey, do you guys write about music? Who writes about music there? Because, that's a little irritating.
Well, different writers specialize in different beats. Like at our paper, Carol Jimbaba writes the concert picks page. So if you want to feature your show, she's the person to contact. And I do the Meet the Band column, and Wade Tangela does some writing for us, and he kind of concentrates on more like the rootsy, bluesy kind of bands. So it's good to kind of read who's writing what day, and get a feel for where your event or your band's going to fit in ahead of time, rather than kind of ask blindly, because you might catch somebody at the wrong time when they're on deadline, and they might not be able to give you the attention that you need. So it's good to find out ahead of time, and then you can just zero right in on when you want your piece to run.
And is email a good way to, besides mailing stuff? I mean, email, send you notice spots and stuff. I mean, I think most of you guys, your columns usually have your email at the end, don't they?
Yeah.
So people can find that.
Yes, I think that most of the publications have the mailing address in it. This may sound like common sense stuff to a lot of you guys, and if it does, good. Because we get a lot of people, like, where can I send a CD? It's to the address in the publication and on the site. It's right there. Check it out.
There's nothing more than